What's going on, everybody? Um, Trying something new today. Hopefully, we'll see how it ends up working. Got Raymond Lyons and Wilson Tarpe Jr., but Ray, the floor is yours, sir. This is your show.
Hey, what's up? As usual, three WNBA games on tap for today. Had one close one and and two kind of got out of hand. I'm going to start with Dallas versus Phoenix. Dallas got the win, 95-89. It's a real good game. Tightly contested throughout. A little too much Enrique Ongubuale today. 33 points on a very efficient 13 and 19. She was just giving it to them every way they wanted it. But she wasn't the only one for Dallas. They were pretty balanced. Alicia Gray added 20 points, 7 rebounds. Marina Mabry added 17 points. Satu Sabali's still out with the dealing with the back injury. For Phoenix, they had a Phoenix game. Brittany Griner, 29 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. Skylar Diggins-Smith, 20 points. DT came back, had 14, 9, and 5. 9 times out of 10, when they get that type of production from those three, they win. But Dallas just had a special performance from a special player. What were your thoughts watching this one?
Yeah, it was a really quality win for a young Wings team, right? We've seen them in they've been in quite a few close games this year and haven't been able to always come out with the W. They've had some very young team moments, done some silly things at times, and it's cost them. Today we saw them kind of remain poised, and it was Phoenix making mistakes late. And you got to give credit to the Wings for that. As you mentioned, we're going to get to Enrique in a minute. It was good for Phoenix to have DT return. Obviously, the tempo of this game was crazy. What I enjoyed more from Enrique today, more so than anything, I didn't care about the point total. Her efficiency. That's always been the biggest thing for me. Today, 13 and 19 from the floor, 6 to 7 from beyond the arc. We know she's a bucket, but when you can kind of graduate from someone who's just able to get a bucket kind of from a volume scorer and get into that place where you can do it on a very efficient level, that's when you kind of take that turn. So I guess for me, I'm hoping this is kind of the beginning of her finding a way to do what she does on a more efficient, in a more efficient manner. Got to give credit to Breonna Turner on the Mercury. I was about to say the Suns. We got too many things going on right here. She does a really good job of just making herself available for her teammates. There's a lot of times BG's in the paint. When teams do send a double, she ducks in, gets an easy layup. Sometimes guards get caught up, over penetrate. Here she comes. Instead of settling for like that 12-foot midi, she relocates closer to them to make it even easier, not only for herself, but for her teammates to make a much simpler pass. Marina Mabry, I'm sure that familiar face was great for Enrique. Probably felt like old times in certain moments. She played a really clean game, I thought. Obviously, her 17 points were big. She had a really big 3 late in that game. It was like a broken offensive play, and you heard Coach Agler talk about running the play. I think Enrique was supposed to go down, get a screen, and come back up top.
Yeah.
And Marina was like, well, I got this room. I'm going to take this step back and hit this triple. Let's get back on defense. Griner got in some foul trouble early, but she still had a very good game. I know you mentioned her point total. I was surprised that Dallas didn't double her that much. They kind of just left their bigs on her one-on-one, and she ate. And it was just kind of a reminder of the evolution of her offensive game, because it wasn't always this polished. From when she first came out of Baylor way back when, right? Skylar had 20, like you mentioned, another good game from Alicia Gray, but it was just really the Wings just kind of growing up just a little bit. They took a step in that maturing direction, right? They didn't go away. They kept themselves in the game. And then down the stretch, they were the ones making the winning plays versus the Mercury making the winning plays as a more veteran team.
Yeah, and it's good to see Skylar remain aggressive, even with Taurasi back in the lineup and playing well. I can definitely understand how that those lines can get blurred. They brought Skylar to score, but you got DT here, and she's back, she's doing well, and I could see how she could just kind of revert back to, all right, I'm gonna feed DT, but no, she kept her foot on the gas. She looked for a shot. She was aggressive. And it's funny you mentioned Dallas not doubling BG. A lot of times when I see teams facing a dominant big like that, I wonder if you have capable bigs. I mean, nobody's gonna just flat out stop her, but
Right.
if you got bigs that can survive one-on-one without just getting demolished, I would be reluctant to double, because that leads to her kicking out for open shots, and then people are getting confidence. So now you got to just deal with everybody on the whole. I mean, you would anyway with Phoenix because they have capable shooters, but I'd rather BG just go to work one-on-one and her dishing back out to open threes with the guards digging down, because she's fully capable of making those passes. So it's I think it's a brilliant chess move by Agler in that situation. Because I'm pretty sure once she got going, they were expecting the doubles to come. If you don't do that, then they're like, well, do we keep doing this or do we go to something else? I mean, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And they kind of kept going to her, but I kind of like the approach he took on the defensive side. But moving on, Seattle Storm versus Connecticut Sun. Seattle get this game 95-72. Man, they're just too good. It's a wire-to-wire victory. They look like easily the best team in the league right now. Vegas is the closest, and I don't think they're that close, to be frank. I mean, no shade to them, but Seattle just looks like they're on a whole nother level. They're getting solid contributions across the board. The thing I don't think that's talked about enough with them is their defense.
Yeah.
They got length everywhere. They're active. They're smart. They communicate. They just make it hell for the other team. And then they force a lot of live ball turnovers. They get past lanes and get deflections. They get rebounds and push the ball. It just leads to a lot of easy baskets. And then you got to deal with them in the half court where they're deadly as well. Natasha Howard, she kind of came into her own in 18 when they won the championship, and then 19 when everybody was down and she was the woman at the one spot. She put up career numbers. Then coming back this year with everybody coming back, she started off kind of slow, but she kept her head down, did what she had to do, and when her number was called, she was ready. Had her best game of the season, double. It just speaks to her professionalism, and that's got to be recognized. I feel like that's real undervalued. So yeah, just wanted to highlight her real quick. But man, Seattle just jumped all over them from beginning to end, and it's not like we see a lot of times where a game will be close, and then somebody will come out and have a monster quarter, and that's the game, how the game is decided. But Seattle they just start from jump ball and just dog you from beginning to end. It just gets worse and worse and worse as the game goes on. Like I hate to be on the receiving end of that, but yeah, your thoughts, bro?
I mean, it's kind of one of those things that's simple. We know how, excuse me, this is really rare. This situation as a whole, the fact that you're in a bubble and everything else going on. You got so many players that opted out, so many different things going on. And there's only 2 teams in the league for the most part. Definitely someone correct me if I'm wrong. But it comes to mind, Seattle and Chicago feel like they're the only ones that are legit whole, like fully whole, right? And no one's going to tell me that's not an advantage. We talk about their depth. We know what they went through, where you win a championship, you lose 2 of your best players, and then you know what that struggle year looks like. But look at what they got out the struggle year. Natasha Howard grows leaps and bounds. You mentioned her already. It was crazy while you were talking. I'm sitting here looking at my notes, and I was like, all right, well, he hit that, he hit that, he hit that. But yeah, they're whole, they're deep, is an experienced team. And I guess what keeps, like you said, you talked about the defense, their development of their bench is what's crazy. Their benches times, they're able to give, their big dogs rest and then extend leads. Like Sammy Whitcomb came in today and then just went nuclear for like a 3-minute stretch, and it's like for like 3 minutes you're like, oh wait, Stewie did have a good game, right? Natasha, all
Right.
those things you mentioned. Natasha Howard didn't have a good game, but Sammy Whitcomb's hitting me over the head right now, right? This is what I'm worried about. Alicia Clark, again, can't put a price on her impact, what she means to this group. DeWanna Bonner's been acting a whole fool this year, giving buckets to everybody. Only 2 games where she struggled a bit. Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
Struggled again today. And this is not anything I'm holding against her. As you said, it's a very good defensive team. And what we saw were 2 teams that are comfortable switching. Seattle's so much better in terms of their communication. You saw at times Connecticut was switching, but Seattle was able to find those mismatches and kind of hunt the mismatches, right? Where every time Connecticut tried to get them, their bigs do such a great job of knowing where their guards are in trouble. So by the time the ball can get reversed to make a proper entry pass, it's not a small on the big anymore, right? There were so many times I saw Jordan Kennedy and Sue Bird just like flying around looking for where they're supposed to go. Because the communication between Clark, Howard, Stewie, Ezzy, and Mercedes as well is crazy. Like they made sure they go out their way to make sure like their bigs are just not it. They might have to front for like 3 seconds,
Right.
and then they're out of jail. Like no mouse in the house here. And then on the other end, it's look, we found Stewie on somebody. Oh, look, is that Natasha Howard with your center out at the 3-point line? Oh, now look, there's a 2-way go here. Like they just do a great job, like you said, in the half court of kind of just hunting those mismatches and then avoiding it happening to them on the other end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they cover their tracks real well, and that, as you pointed out, that's a sign of a veteran team that's developed their youth and their reserves. So, man, good luck to whoever got to play them. Last game of the day, Chicago Sky versus Atlanta Dream. Chicago got to this win 92-67. My takeaway from Atlanta, they just have struggled to find consistent offense since Kennedy Carter went down. And that's just been a problem. Even when she was there, like, of course she had the big game, the 35-point game against Seattle not too long ago. But, even in the games where she's getting 14 and 15, it's just her being able to individually break down defenses and then find people. It makes everyone's life so much easier. And, not that Monique Billings and Benaja Laney and, they're great players. Shakina Strickland, they're great players. But, when Kennedy is not putting that pressure on people and that window gets a little bit tighter for you, though, those shots are just that much harder. So yeah, they got to find a way to generate some offense. Courtney Williams, I don't know if she's gonna, round out into her old self soon, but that would definitely help if she could, get to last year's form. I know she had a kind of a abbreviated period getting back, and she was getting in the bubble late, so she's probably just trying to get her sea legs right now. But on the Chicago side, man, like you said, they're one of the teams that are as close to full strength as you can get. They did some growing up last year. Cheyenne Parker, man, she's been amazing this season. Yeah. So she's got to be most improved, 6th woman of the year or both. She's got to get recognized in some way for what she's doing. But they were balanced today. Clay Cooper had 11, Allie Quigley had 11, Sluty had 11, and another sound defensive team. With athletic wings, they're able to switch. It's hard to find a mismatch against them. What you have for this game? I'm
kind of with you on this one. I'm not going to knock Atlanta. They're not whole right now. There's a reason that they were selecting that high. It's not, it's not the same level of continuity over there. Kennedy clearly was able to play a big part in the plans going forward of this version of the Dream. Her being out does hurt a bit. Especially since she's one of the primary ball handlers on this team. Mm-hmm. And like you mentioned, the year Benaja Laney's having, I'm sure Courtney Williams will get there eventually, but this is one of those things where, just like the Sun, you guys aren't who you were last year, right? Like it's a different iteration of you guys. The Sun were kind of out of their depth earlier today. I think everybody knew where that game was going to go unless heroic performances would have been would have happened.
Right.
And it's not being mean or anything. It's just like we talked about this week on WNBA Outlook. Where we've seen the teams making their separation, like this past, feel like the past 3 games or whatnot, right? And maybe the past 3 to 4 games, we're kind of seeing the imaginary line go upper echelon of this season, in the pack, and we'll see you guys next year when we're whole again. And it feels like that's what the Tiers are right now, right? And Chicago's not in the same tier as Chicago. I mean, Atlanta's not in the same tier as Chicago. And that's it. The Sky are a very good team. They're led by 2 veterans, and again, development. They've been balanced in all their wins this season. It's been a balanced attack offensively. You never know. You know who's going to hurt you, but you never know when or to what. Who's going to have the hot day? Is it going to be Clea Copper today, or is it going to be Cheyenne Parker today? They're just so well-rounded, and I think they've done a good job of, if everything goes right for them, they're still able to continue to, just plug along, stay on this trajectory that they're on. If they can get a, close to 100% shot, Diamond to Shields come postseason, then everything's fine with them.
That changes a lot.
Yeah, and look at what they're doing. You can clearly tell she's not remotely close to 100%. She's just kind of like thugging it out for her team, but that's not the Diamond we've grown accustomed to seeing. But again, I love what they did on the glass, 37-26. They did what they're supposed to do. They're a bigger team, and they took advantage of it. They shot 59 from the floor, 50 from 3, and 91% from the line. That is stupid efficient. And again, it's why they're one of the better teams in the league.
Yeah, man. So we're like, this is pretty much the halfway point. Yeah, we're 11 games in. You know, like you said, things are starting to shake out. How it's going to be for the most part. You got your teams at the top, then you got your couple surprise teams, then you got the teams where it's just like we're just thugging it out at this point and going to try to make the best of it. But yeah, this is where people want to start making that push to heading towards the playoffs. I'm sure teams are welcome in this little break they got. I know the Sparks getting 3 days.
I think the Mystics just got 3 days.
A couple teams got 3 days. And I think they're just going to rotate. The rest of the teams are going to get their 3 days starting tomorrow, I believe. But yeah, man, it's been a great season so far. They definitely made the most of the situation they're in. So yeah, man, I can't wait to see what happens in these next 11 games. But yeah, somebody got to do something about Seattle because they're a whole problem.
No, they definitely are, and that'll be the fun part because I'm not gonna sit here and be like, the year is over or whatnot. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Who's gonna do anything about like the top 3 teams in the league right now? They're all starting to stride out. Like right now, they got to the portion race where it's like, I could probably, take these long steps now, leave you guys behind a little bit. And a couple teams are kind of starting to surge all at the right moment with the separation we're talking about. But yeah, that's all I got for today, man.
All right, man. Well, we're going to go ahead and get up out of here. Again, that's Wilson Tarpe Jr. I'm Raymond Lyons. And thank you guys for tuning in.